Hi, everybody. Today is November 8th, and this is the Dev Call. We're back from San Francisco, and it was really great. We got a lot of people that, build it on us, and also a lot of people. There was a lot more people that recognized Tellor, but most importantly, there was a lot of people also that didn't and now do. Mike came up with a really great slogan for this conference, and it really brought up a lot of curiosity. So it was really great to see people coming up just and asking about it. Mike, if you want to go into it, because that was your baby.
Sure. Yeah, some of you guys might have seen it. I'll post a link or a picture in the Discord. But the slogan was, they're going to force you to pick a side to build towards fintech or build towards censorship resistance. And so we had like a banner that said that, and then a bigger banner that said Tellor, and then said just censorship resistant on it. There you go. Spuddy's showing a shirt. So you could see what side we were on. And previously, like if we did one of these shows, we would just have a big sign that said Tellor, had our branding on it, maybe Telliot, or something that we're on an Oracle. And that's attractive as if you're interested in oracles, you might come up and talk to us. And what we wanted to do this time was let's pick a message that even if you're really not interested in oracles specifically, you're interested in this message around the way that Web3 is going, and maybe you've picked a side, and maybe you're all about censorship resistance. So we had a lot of people that were just like, oh man, I love the message, I got to take this shirt just because of that, not because I'm into Tellor in any way. And so that was really cool to see. And yeah, it was a big hit. I wasn't sure how it was going to play. So, and we had a great spot at the venue. It was an amazing venue. It was a huge, it was like something out of ancient Greece, this venue, and it was huge. And we had like a really primo spot in terms of visibility. And yeah, it was ETH Global's largest in-person event of the year, and probably largest in-person event ever. And so, you never know when you sponsor these things, you show up, you don't know how it's going to go. Not throwing shade to ETH New York, but that was another event that we went to. And Brenda, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, but I think you were like happy we didn't maybe spend money to sponsor there because it wasn't that busy. It was kind of, a down, kind of a downer of an event, but ETHSF was awesome. And so it's just good to be a part of any big event that the whole space agrees was great and all that stuff. And yeah, so we had 3 winners. Maybe I can briefly describe those guys. I tweeted about it. So if you go to our Twitter account and see the tweet, you can actually click the link to their showcase, which is like their demo and a deeper description. But we had, I'll start with our third place winner. This is probably the project I can talk about the least. This is ZAP, Zero Awareness Protocol. We were confused about how they worked because there was like a language barrier there, and it was encryption. It was about encryption tech, and but they really wanted to use our Oracle, and so they spent a lot of time at our booth over those 3 days, asking us a ton of questions, and so they got a ton of points for just really pushing hard to use Tellor. And so we had to give them something, and they successfully did that.
If you don't mind, I'll try to explain what I think they did. Basically, they were trying to create a contract that would allow the encryption of a query ID, basically, because they didn't want just anybody to know what they were querying. And then it would somehow also allow the other party to decrypt the answer. And then for us to be able to validate whether or not that was a good answer and be able to dispute it, anybody in the community could go and somehow ask this contract also whether or not the answer was deemed correct, or if it had been a successful submission, and it would return a true or false. And that way, as a community, we could still validate it without knowing what it was. Again, it was very I don't know, very based on encryption. So I'm not really sure if it actually worked, but it's a cool idea, and it could be useful for some people. I think they were pitching it more like using it for privacy of trades for big companies or very wealthy individuals. Yeah, so that was what I got from what they try to explain. We didn't get everything else around their business model, but in terms of the idea, we thought it was pretty cool, a pretty cool way of using Tellor. So, you
know. Yeah. So you can, that's Zap. You can check out their showcase and sort of read their explanation and go through their source code and let us know what you think. The other project was Ecotopia. They won $1,000 from us. They were a project that they needed the carbon credit price from Toucan, which is a tokenized carbon credit. And so they needed our Oracle to get the price of the NCT token. And they were one of these projects that sort of allows you to buy carbon credits to sort of offset your own personal carbon footprint and, you know, make a fun front end and an easy process for you to do so. And they needed us, and they had no issues. And they were, you know, they were a very nice team, and it was a pretty, from what I understand, a pretty straightforward interaction with us, integration with us. And one thing I'll say is that this whole carbon credit thing is, you know, here to stay. One of the main winners of the event, at least one of the main winners of the main prizes, one of the main finalists, was also doing something very similar to Ecotopia. It's called Refi. That's like the sub industry within crypto, and so it's cool. Like, we've noticed, I think Spuddy, we first sort of, and Brenda, we sort of first ran into this at ETH Denver with Toucan protocol or whatever. And, you know, this is just not something I'm personally really interested in. But
well, there was a project that reached out to us a while ago, even before ETH Denver last year, called Kumo DAO. I was looking for a price feed for the BCT token, which is like Toucan's original carbon credit token. I hadn't heard of NCT until this hackathon, so we'll have a price feed for that now.
Yeah, so we will. And I think that this area, you know, climate change is not going anywhere, right? So like, there's a ton of people building in the space that are focused on that world, and we've already established a few relationships with people building in that area, so it's pretty cool. Anything that's just different than the typical DeFi, I think, is exciting for us. And then finally, we have Price Feeder. They won our top prize. They built something that allows they wanted to create as they called it, a no-code, super user-friendly solution to launching NFT collection price oracles, so that you could launch like a prediction market for a certain collection. They're building, you guys might have heard us talk about Mimicry. We've been talking with them for a while. So they're a project that's building a legit NFT marketplace. We've been talking with them for a while. And this Price Feeder component is really awesome. And it's super applicable to us. It's basically, it's like a front end for being able to use Tellor for these NFT collections in a really slick, smooth way, where like everything is already pre-built in the back end. So I really encourage you guys to sort of check out their demo and test it out. Like, they were really impressive for what they built in 36 hours. Like, their demo was like, they had a full front end and it worked, and they walked us through it. So kudos to those guys, and keep an eye out for them. with what they're doing at Mimicry. So follow them on Twitter, hop in their Discord, support them as any way as you guys can, because we have high hopes for them as a potential user. So congrats to Price Feeder, great job. And yeah, that was it. So we had a number of other people building on us. I think it was a total of 7 submissions, and then some people that were building on us that just didn't finish in time, so they didn't submit. But yeah, I really can't speak to those guys because there's nowhere for me to. There was no showcase for them, so I can't really. I don't even remember. So anyway, overall, really great event, and not much more else to say. Probably the next big event that we're going to be involved in is not until ETH Denver in March. So keep an eye out for that.
And Spidey, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say that what Price Feeder did was borderline amazing with Tellor, and those guys are like super professional dev team, and the feedback that we got from them that was amazing is that Tellor is the only oracle that they could use where they could build their own price feed solution, because the Tellor contracts are open and permissionless like that, and there's no other oracle protocol that they could even use to do what they wanted to do, which was really cool to hear.
Definitely something that we want to be, not just for them, but for anybody that's out there. Well, with that, let's go back to the dev call. So this last week, we updated 360 on mainnet, and we also redeployed on Polygon in Mumbai with 360. So all of those should be up and running. We have miners there now. And it's been a really, really busy last couple of weeks. And honestly, I think we're going to be really busy for the next few weeks. But with that, guys, thank you so much for all your hard work and dedication. Like, we've been doing so much in the last 3 weeks that I know it's, it takes a lot. So thank you. But where do we go from here? We have a lot to do. Even though 360 is done, we have to really streamline our processes, clean everything up. We got we already got some ideas from this hackathon about how to improve the auto pay. And so we might start working on that very soon as well. But overall, like, we're still cleaning up. We're still making sure that all of documentation is up to date, that it's easy to use, and that we continue to create tools and make it much easier for anybody to implement us and integrate us. But with that, you guys, let me know, how was this week back in Tellor, not in the conference, because I feel like we had a hard time working much during the conference, but so you guys were holding up the fort. So I don't know, Owen, want to start?
Yeah, sure. We got a lot of feedback from one of our great community members, Crypto Scholar, using the reporter. There's a bunch of bugs that that person reported. Akram fixed most of those. Diva integration, they updated their contracts a bit. There's a PR to review for that, and we have our call with them in 9 minutes. So I'll talk with Vlad then from Diva. Other than that, after we kind of settled down, like Telliot was, I'm gonna do like a video, the updates and whatnot. So
okay, the updates for Telliot, is that what you? Okay, that would be great. Yeah. Akram?
Yeah, just mostly what one said, working on the Telliot feeds issues and stuff, fixed a lot of those. And the packed contract, basically, I guess the translation you could say of Teleflex into packed. That's what I'm focusing on mostly.
Okay, and we have a meeting at 2, right? You're gonna go through it?
That's right.
Awesome. If anybody else wants to join and listen Akram explain packed, by all means. We'll be in T1. Tally?
Yes, I'm working on the mimicry implementation. I've been doing the research into the different algorithms that they want implemented before I start, and then I'll be implementing the queries, and then the feeds, of course, over the coming week. The disputable values monitor, I think, is also in really good shape.
It's the DVM is primo now. It's been running for a few days, no bugs, no errors out. It's been great.
But one thing that's also on my plate is updating the contract address on the monitor, the dashboard monitor.
Oh, the dashboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know that one of the fixes or one of the things you were working on for the DVM was the disputes. We didn't get any flag, right?
I'm sorry, what do you mean?
When we had the one dispute on 360, I don't believe that we got flagged for it. Was that one of the fixes that you implemented?
Yeah, it was ETHUSD, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I pointed the disputable values monitor from legacy queries to spot prices. That's why I didn't pick it up.
Got it.
But now, and so, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Ryan, how are the front ends coming along?
Still working on the kinks of getting data feedback up and running with the new addresses. Making progress, but just still not there yet. Should hopefully get that figured out today. And then also working with Ciro. We got a new one-time tip function that he's working on for the funded feed, and that'll also show up on the data feed. So lots of work to do still.
Awesome. Spuddy, all your miners up and running, everything looks great.
Yeah. There's nothing really holding me back except
what about that the 10,000 TRB tip that is non-existent? Is that still going?
Nope, that one was solved.
Okay.
That's not a problem anymore. I think the only issue with Goerli is maybe that it's still estimating the gas really high.
Okay.
But they're, these guys might have made a fix for that I just haven't installed yet. I'm not sure. So
Did you guys agree, Owen?
I mean the gas price?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
I think it was merged. Okay.
Will be soon.
All right. Perfect.
Cool.
So, do we have any questions, Ryan?
Sorry, I got spam called. Yes, we do. The question is, what are the next big steps, the next big dev steps after launching the great Tellor 360?
I think for the devs, it's going to be a lot of cleanup, a lot of streamlining, a lot of documentation. And then once we're done with that, we'll move on to actually building on Tellor. We'll be building some cool projects on top of it that showcase how you can use Tellor and its, just its capacity to be flexible. Those are the big things. Hopefully, as we get hopefully on board more users, if there are any, big things that they want to update it or that would help to bring on board more users, then we'll consider eventually doing a fork. But I think for now, this is a design for Tellor for a while. Although, famous last words, who knows, but based on our current users and how we're working, I think this is going to be it for a bit. If more users come or the space really changes, we got to stay flexible, and then we will go back and look at the architecture if it's needed. But so far for what we have, we're just going to tidy everything up and make sure that it's as smooth as possible for any developer to implement Tellor moving forward. And Mike, I don't know if you want
I
to.
would know, I'm just saying, and not to say that that isn't as sexy as building a new upgrade of Tellor. I think that like people think like launching 2.0, 3.0, like these are big announcements. This is the sexy thing to do. Like, yes, those things are cool, but like actually doing what Brenda was just saying, like this has been a long time coming for Tellor, and like I can't wait to see, you know, like everything we've done and all these new versions of Tellor is to get people to use it. And so anything that we can do, like that last 5 to 10% of like making it more usable is actually a really hard problem to solve. And it's really hard to build it really well. And it's actually really exciting because it makes the whole thing worthwhile, because then you get people to use it and have an easier experience using it and all that stuff. So like, it's actually a really exciting phase for Tellor to move into.
Yeah, and that might not be that sexy, but once we're done with the cleanup, I think building on Tellor and building like really cool things and showcasing it, it's really gonna be, I think that's
awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it for us. Unless anybody else has anything to add. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you next week.
See ya.
Mm.